Today we're going to talk about the next portion of Chapter 8, Section 1, which is dealing with what problems did Washington face concerning the financial situation of the United States. And so, obviously, the biggest problem was debt. And so this was handed out to you, and you were supposed to sort of fill this in, talking about Hamilton and his debt problem and then debt solution across the top. So as we look at these, I just wanted to share a few things when we talk about national debt. Now, national debt is defined as basically all of the amount of money that is owed by the country, and that is to either banks across the world, but back in the times that we're studying, they would be to primarily countries throughout Europe that had loaned money to the United States. So this is just showing you some information over the last several years about how the national debt has grown, and you can sort of see it tracing it all the way up until this one was 2018, so this is pre-pandemic. But I like this one better because it shows you some of the other major events that really helped kind of drive up the deficit and then the debt. So here we're at 20 trillion. Because back here in 2005, we were only at, if you want to say, only 7 trillion. But just different pictures to kind of show you. And this is always fun to sort of break it down for every man, woman, and child. But of course, it's going to be Alexander Hamilton's, it's going to be his responsibility at the Secretary of the Treasury to come up with a plan. So what I want you to do is just fill in your chart as we go. Now, I know some of us had some trouble and some questions, so that's why we're going to kind of go over this pretty clear, pretty slow. All right? So the first thing that we have to talk about are the different types of debt that Hamilton had to deal with. And so the very first thing that we have to understand is there's different types of debt the United States had in the 1790s. So they were basically a national debt, so we'll do that one first here. Okay? So the first one was he wanted to pay the nation's debt, or the national debt, which was considered the Confederation. That would be the Articles of Confederation. The government the United States had while we were fighting Great Britain was under the Articles of Confederation. So that goes in the first box. So you can pause this at any time and just, catch up. Because I want to just show you what you should add in your notebook. And that is basically, when I say that, is that the federal government's going to pay the debts that the Confederation government created during the actual war. That was the first thing that they had to take care of. So various countries had loaned the United States money during the American Revolution. They had not given it to us. They had loaned it to us with the expectation that we were going to pay it back. The second one that we have to talk about is that they wanted to pay, or on your sheet it says assume state debt. So let me explain what that means. It means that the federal government will assume all the debts that the states had created during their fight to basically fight the British. Individual states also went out and sought and got loans. So all of those states then also had to pay back their own individual loans that they had taken out. Under Hamilton's plan, he wanted to assume all of the debts of all of the states and share them equally among all states. That means everybody gets 1/13 of the debt of states, which obviously is not going to make many people happy in the states where they had already paid a large portion of their debt off. So I want to just stop right there, because that's all I need everyone to do, is to catch up to that point of where we are.